Murus is one of the newest creatures coming to the MMO light, and Kieran says he's going to be sharing plenty more stuff as we approach the first playable demo for the game, and serious amounts of updates are compiling at the moment. Like, look at this thing. This thing actually looks pretty cool. What you might not know is this might actually be coming to Illuvium, to the Illuvium arena as a playable character you can find in the shop. I have some information coming out in this episode later that's going to show you exactly what I mean by that, and why I have a feeling this is going to be one of several different units that are actually going to be joining the game. Even if it's temporary, it's going to be quite interesting. I think, personally, I'm a little on the fence on if this is the right approach. I'm mostly in favor of it. I think it'll be good for the game and the gameplay, but it's going to be really interesting. So me and Tish are going to get into that very, very soon after we go over some of the other stuff first. How's it going today, man?
Yeah, good. How are you?
Not bad. All right, let's jump into the next one. Let's go through our announcements. We've got the Leviathan No Limits tournament happened last weekend. It was very successful, I would say. They had, Tara, what were you saying? Like 20 people from the 64 that were registered weren't going to show up?
Oh no, I wasn't making any assumption. I was just curious to see what the result would be.
What was your bet? You were betting...
I was betting about 20. I'd say about 20, 25, give or take.
Okay, something like 6 or 7 didn't.
Yeah, I mean that's really good. That's really
and
good.
30, 40 plus from the waiting list, I think, were checked in as well.
That's really good. That's really good.
Yeah, so insanely exciting from the Leviathan tournament. Everyone really had a really good time. Some people are talking about how the stats weren't influential enough. Hard for me to say if they were or weren't. I was focused too much on trying to figure out my stats rather than actually playing the game. So I didn't really click onto it all that well. But I would say that maybe they were a little bit underwhelming, maybe. So yeah, no, really exciting. Leviathan tournament really well. Who won that? Was it Fury? Sorry,
I actually don't remember. I apologize.
We should probably check.
Yeah.
I go to tournaments.
Huge shout out to these guys, man.
Completed. Oh, absolutely.
These guys, this website.
Leviathan No Limits. View details. Should tell us who won and who lost. Fox Spirit actually won. Yeah. Furies came second. Squawk third. We got Soda down at 6th.
Potato.
Yeah. Great heat here. Can you favorite someone? No, they just got a little star for 4th. So really good to see that. Next up, we've got the ILV Summer Exclusive disc sale now live. I believe it's still live for another couple days. I managed to grab 20 discs myself so I can get all the drone blasts and things like that. Nice. I might get another 5. Probably not. I'm not sure yet.
Did you open them or?
I've opened 10 of them. I think I haven't actually opened 10 more. I was going to record it so I can just post it on Twitter or whatever.
Yeah, well, I bought 30. I opened 20 and kept 10. Just chilling out there.
Nah, I'm going to open them all. So, yeah, the sale ends on the 14th of August, 8 p.m. UTC. There's the buy guide, sales overview, and everything. We've gone through all that before. I don't think we need to go through it again. But, yeah, the disc is pretty cool, pretty fun. I actually got an Octius on, like, my 6th or 7th one, so that was pretty hyped about that. No rare Octius, though. It was really funny. I got, like, 3 Caribou straight, right? My first 3 discs, and then, like, 2 more on, like, disc 6 and 7 or whatever it was. Mm-hmm. And then eventually I got Grocco, and I'm like, wait, Caribou wasn't even like the least rare one. I got like the second least rare one the whole time. I thought that was really funny. But yeah, so the Illuvia Pro League, all the details for that has gone live. We'll go over some of the graphics later on in the episode today. But yeah, there's 3 main tiers of tournament. I will be helping out Illuvium with several of these. There's the IPL 250, 500, and 1000. Bigger prize pools, tougher qualification. So the 250 and 500 are open qualification. You just go into a sit and go, and if you qualify, you get to play out the tournament. And the IPL 1000 is based on the people that did really well in the 250 and 500 and get to go through to that. So really exciting, and there's some more like complex stuff towards the back end of the tournament structure. But yeah, some really fun stuff. I still wish that final tournament's prize pool is way bigger, but that's just me.
I'll do keep talking, and I'll do some research real quick.
All right, so the next thing is the Arena Patch 1.12. A lot of people have been asking for this one, but just before we get to that, there is another huge update. Okay, so Aaron is actually personally putting 10,000 of his own ILV to fund Season 1 of the Illuvium Pro League. At current prices, that covers almost the entire pool. Isn't that the entire pool?
Not just yet.
No, it's not.
It's 250, so it's slightly under.
Yeah, which is a huge deal because it means labs can now direct those funds towards our upcoming capital raise instead. This isn't the first time Aaron stepped up. Nearly 2 years ago, he stopped taking a wage to help extend our runway, and the other founders followed suit. I want to know what that conversation with his wife was like. That's the level of commitment we have to Illuvium. We're in and always will be. Some very exciting stuff there. Let's take a really quick look at the patch notes here. It's focused on rebalancing the current meta, particularly targeting the Revenant Dust dominance. Basically, Taipan got buffed, the only Illuvial to get buffed, so I'd love to see that. And a lot of the empaths and the Revenant combo got nerfed. In particular, the a few other synergies got nerfed. Bloom and Shock, most notably. Toxic, a little bit of a buff as well. Colossus, Behemoth, Revenant, Frost, and Phantom all got nerfed. I don't know why Phantom got nerfed. I feel like it doesn't do shit, but that's just me.
Going back to the prize pool stuff. So I'm looking at like the Paris Open that's happening in December. Their prize pool is 308,000.
Yeah, so it wasn't the point to get the sticker shock of we have a bigger tournament than TFT.
Well, the biggest is 500,000. That's in August. That's like now.
Yeah, I don't know why we didn't go to $1 million.
Okay, yeah, great. See, I agree with what we're doing in terms of we went not big, but we did go hard previously, and we realized we shot ourselves in the foot. And even going hard now, like because there is Paris in December, a lot of the TFT guys are going to stick with that because a lot of people don't understand that. As an influencer, when you switch games, you're actually losing out on revenue because your audience wants you to play your game. And if you move, that's why there's sponsored streams because you're pretty much making up for the revenue that they would have got otherwise. So like even if we had gone a big prize pool, they're not guaranteed to get in. And our dates are pretty much coinciding almost the same with the Paris Open. So is a big prize pool enough? So what happens if we did go $1 million or something like that and we didn't get them to come over? That like, are we willing to take that risk?
Yeah, but like you don't take a risk, fail, and then stop taking risks. That's just a slow death.
Right, but I mean, again, I think this is just a difference of strategy, right? Like, I would rather play it safe. I don't think what we're doing is like
no one ever was successful playing it safe. That's not how this works.
I don't think that's true.
You have to take risks to do something. Risks are important.
Yeah.
Now,
but how much of a risk?
I'm not opposed to taking the risk at the end of next year and using this as a testing ground, sort of a thing.
Exactly.
I personally still would have gone big this year, but I understand if that's the compromise, sure. But if it's 150K next year, I'm out. It's ridiculous.
Right. So yeah, for a new game, I think that's a crazy take. For a new game that is doing that,
it doesn't need to be a mil. I would like a mil, but it doesn't need to be. But 150 is way too low.
Yeah, that's crazy to me. For a brand, like for a new game that's essentially starting their esport. Tell me how many esports games that are starting their esports scene that are doing that. That's a wild take to me.
I mean, marketing gets harder every year. You either try to really go hard on the marketing front or you don't bother at all. I wouldn't have even marketed until we're ready to actually go big or go home in a certain sense, you know?
Yo, Mr. DJ Sam Withers.
Classic Sam.
Yeah. So it's 2-1. We were against you, Scoriox.
Fair enough. Well, we'll see. We'll see if the marketing gets traction. And at the same time, I do get that the more money you free up, then the more money you can spend on the actual influencers themselves and all that sort of stuff. But you don't really give them a reason to stay, which is a little bit of a problem as well. So, as you said, they're all going to be focused on TFT and stuff like that. But if you had big enough prize pools and made it exciting enough, then maybe some of them would be convinced to switch if they wanted to, and that would be pretty exciting for our ecosystem.
Honestly, it's the timing of it all is how do I say this? Precarious. I'll say that. Like it's just tough timing because like the TFT set just started, and anyone that knows anything about TFT and the viewership and the community is a new set is a new hype cycle. So they legitimately just launched their new set on the 31st of last month, which is like the peak. And Riot did something with Box, which is one of their top streamers. I think he averages about 2.5. I think I could check, but I'm pretty sure it's about 2.5 live viewers. He's definitely top 10, I'd say. I say definitely, more than likely top 10. And so they're doing a 2-week event with him. So again, the hype cycle kind of stays a bit longer than that first week. And then they've got the competition that's happening this weekend. And they've also got Paris in December. Like, we're actually just competing with TFT, not just like, oh yeah, we're trying to build a game with you guys. It's like their esports scene is running. Our esports scene it's all happening in parallel, and we are actively competing and trying to poach. So even with the influencers, like it's not just bigger prize pool, bring them over. It's like no, it's the peak of their hype cycle. That they're getting the maximum that they can out of their community, out of their like they're leaving. This is the time that they're leaving the most on the table. It's not like a downside where it's the start of the year at the end of a set where there's no big tournaments. Like that would have been the peak time in terms of poaching them. But right now is the toughest time of the year to try and do that.
I think that's fair. Well, I would like to see Illuvium scale it up in either case.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is why I'm saying I think for knowing that picture that I just painted, I think the 150, the 250 circuit and the 150 main event is fine. Sam thinks it's too high. I think it's reasonable for what it's trying to do.
It's definitely not too high. That is absurd, Sam.
I'm in the middle. I think it's the Goldilocks. I think for where we are in the picture that I painted, it makes sense.
Sure. Okay, let's jump back into these patch notes. So the big thing that actually happened was the Quake Ballers got nerfed, which I think is one of the things that was really enabling the Revenant combo. I think one of the reasons is a lot of people were running Dust with it, and Quake Ballers enables that as well. They actually reduced the attack speed by what feels like 30%, improved the attack damage a little bit, and reduced the attack speed gain from one of the amplifiers as well. So they went hard to try and nerf that a little bit. Quite a bit, actually. Quite a big nerf. A few other upgrades and things like that, but that's fine. We'll just get into it. Some of the events this week. Leviathan Tournament, the Palamos Rumble starts in 46 minutes from now. So you're getting prepared for that, good luck. I was going to compete, but I think I'm just going to sit this one out. I'm a bit tired. And I haven't recorded my videos for the week yet. Daily Gauntlet Wars, of course. Cooker's Cave every week as well. Daydream Tournament is coming up, repeats every Monday. So if you want to compete in that, I definitely recommend it. There's another one every Wednesday. Illuvium Council's Voice and Play is coming up. So next week, about the same time as now, actually 12 hours before now next week. And then Going Hyper in 2 weeks from now. We had the one this morning. Did you watch it? I only caught a little bit.
I did.
Did it have any leaks in it?
No leaks.
Anything interesting? Because I skimmed it to try and see if there was anything interesting, and there was nothing crazy.
Not too much. It was more covering like the IPL and such.
All right. So if you're interested in the IPL, if you're interested in the raffle and stuff like that, definitely go check out Going Hyper. Okay. The next thing we've got is people are saying that the leveling system needs to be adjusted, and Aaron says that they are looking to find ways to make it less of a grind. I'm very excited to hear that. I hope that comes in the near future. Aaron also said that people have been talking about a tournament Leviathan percentage change. Currently, it's 50%, 25% for level 60, and 25% for stats. And there's nothing confirmed yet. It's been 1 day since they talked about it, but the next event will almost certainly get a change so they can see the impact. He doesn't know what the actual change is yet, though, but he has suggested a few things we'll check out in a second. The other thing is they're looking into ways to incorporate Leviathan and stuff like that. But also that Aaron was putting up a lot of his tokens. We've got the announcement about that, so we don't need that anymore. Okay, so here's another really interesting one. So apparently Perry came up with a good idea regarding Leviathan that he wanted to share. The feedback was that traits aren't as impactful as they should be. Obviously, some disagree, but let's say they were too conservative. Rather than make the power go from 0 to 50, he's suggesting adding a 10% power boost just for ownership. So it goes from 10% to 60. This allows to make all owners feel more power, but actually increases the power gap as well because of the way the game scales. Your 10% attack boost from an augment scales on top of 60% boost a lot more than it does on 50 or it does on 10, right? So you actually get quite a bit of a sliding scale on that as well. The other thing is they said they're working on localization. It's not weeks away, but it isn't too far back from a couple of months. I have no idea how to gauge that. It could be 3 months. It could be 6 months. I do wonder how close localization is. I'm getting a lot of mixed things. Like
I will say
Kieran
this.
made it sound like it's a lot closer than it is.
I'll say this. If we are targeting TFT pro players, someone should go and search up where they're from. Like, look up the top 200, 300 players and see where they're from. The vast majority of them are from 3 countries specifically. I mean, you could say Taiwan, but you could say it's China. It's China, Japan, and Korea. They're the 3. If you look at the top 300, 400, the top majority is those 3. And all 3 of those countries can't touch our game. It's not like French. It's not like German, where they can play it in English. Chinese, Korean, and Japanese cannot play in English at all. That's a hard blocker, and that is the majority of competitive players. So, and what's interesting is that competitive play and prize pools are actually worth a lot more to them because the US dollar is worth way more in China, Japan, and Korea. So, from an objective point of view, we're leaving a lot on the table there, just based on that.
Absolutely. Yeah. I hope it's soon, but yeah, hard to say from that. The next one is Aaron said that the best counter to Revenant and stuff is getting some extra units in the game so we can balance around the other synergies more easily. FYI, internally, the AI we're training has identified some comps that are stronger. The issue is it sort of plays in a way that humans don't really think about, so it's not easy for a human to spot these comps. The AI is like, it's either really good or really bad, apparently. I don't really look for the AI, so it's hard for me to like assess that properly. But the big one is this, okay? This is what I hinted at the start of the video. So internally, they're thinking strongly towards adding in some units to fill out the roster. They obviously don't have ideal distribution since they were using assets that were originally designed for the 1v1 Ascendant. So they're considering a set 1B that will use some assets from the MMO to fill out the set. It might not end up being quite as standard on the art, but we feel gameplay is more important, so this is an acceptable risk. We'll do some tests internally this week and then keep you updated. So I'm looking forward to asking for updates on that. It might mean a few units get new tiers, but we're thinking only to go up so that people don't feel like their Leviathan units are getting weaker, but instead getting stronger. It would temporarily until the set 2, which will be designed around this sort of thing. It'd be temporary, which I think is interesting, but fair enough. We're only using assets that the MMO has already developed so that they save on the work. We're really putting everything into the MMO, so we don't want to take any focus away from those guys. This could be instead of a taunt animation at the battle end, it might just be idle. Happy to hear any feedback. So what this makes me think is the only assets that I can think of are either the enemies they're working on that are other ranges, the boss asset maybe, they could scale it down, or those other creatures we've seen, which seems like the really obvious choice. And they're supposed to be the PvE enemies. Also a little bit odd there, but again, we're facing Illuvials right now, so I don't see the reason you can't really use both. I think it will help the gameplay a lot. I'm sure the art will be fine enough. I don't think it's going to bother anyone. But I do think, I will say, I'm trying to improve at the game and get more comfortable playing it more and more, right? And the big thing I was doing today was trying to craft a bunch of different teams and things like that. And you go through it and you realize just how limited the roster actually is. I'm like, okay, I want to build a team where I'm going for 6 air. There's literally 6 air Illuvials outside of tier 0 and lynxes. Mm-hmm. And so it's just, you've got to get those 6 air. There's no other choice. And so if 2 people are going air, you're both fighting for the exact same composition the entire time. And it's just awkward and weird. And that's why things like Revenant show up a lot, because it's easy. It's an easy synergy to acquire. It's a 4 or 5 players can acquire it. And so everyone's getting it because that power boost is just too valuable to give up when pretty much everyone in the game can go for it. You don't have that same level with some other things in the game. So I think new units being added could only do good things, especially since their distribution is really odd. For example, if you're going for Earth, it's pretty much all tier 1 Illuvials. If you're going for
I think with
Fire, it's a bit of a mix. But if you're going for like Nature, I think it's like all tier 3s. And Air is a lot of tier 3s and 4s or something. It's a really awkward distribution.
I don't know how we do this, but I wouldn't be against getting more lynxes. Like right now you have 1 lynx evolution. Sorry, I was trying to think before I said
Yeah.
Like in a match, you have 1 version of the evolution, and that's it. So I think what we should have per match is 5 or whatever, like random, and you can choose. So if you get 2 of them, you can get like maybe it's multiple airs, and you're like, oh, okay, cool. I could make the 6 airs because I can get a bulwark, scion, what like 5 different airs. I'm being facetious saying that you're gonna get 5 air lynxes, but we need to use, because we've got those, but we're not even using them. Not fully. We're not maximizing them in the game. So we're leaving, a lot on the table. And so I think if we find a better way to do that, I think that can be adjusted. And that would open up, I'd imagine, quite a bit. Maybe. I could be wrong, but
it would make a world of difference if you could just pick a lynx you want and just get that lynx in the game. Yeah. The balancing around the pool sizes and stuff is going to get a bit tricky, because if everyone can get the lynx, which is kind of how you would have to structure that, I think, and then everyone's going to go for the lynx every single game. And so teams will be built around lynxes a little bit too much. Maybe not necessarily a bad thing, but that's going to be the awkwardness of it. But you're 100% right, and that's exactly what Aaron said. He said the game was designed around a 1v1 Ascendant, and I suspect lynxes didn't quite fit into that picture, which has essentially eliminated the customizable character we had in the game that enabled all these different synergies. It was the thing holding it all together so that you can get a lot of the basic synergies set up, and you had a bit more customizability of what your team's going to look like in the end. But at the same time, getting more than 1 lynx is the thing you're going to then contend with. Do you only allow 1 per person? Are they going to pick 1 that they need? Or are they able to get 2 stoic lynxes, which are technically different Illuvials?
Yeah. See, I'm not good at the balance. That's not my thing. From a fun player perspective, I'd say let them double, triple up, like whatever. Like let it, because imagine someone with 3 scion lynxes. That shit's gonna be doing burst damage. Like that's just, you start getting some fun shit. You really start getting some fun.
I think it'd be interesting in terms of balance, because every lynx you take, you give up composite synergies.
Mm-hmm.
And so there's that as well. Like they're not like quite as strong as a tier 4 or tier 5 Illuvial. But they're missing composites that are kind of on the same level as a tier 3, let's say. And yeah, they tend to be quite bulky too, which is helpful for a lot of teams. It's something we actually kind of need right now. But yeah, so I definitely think some sort of freedom in the lynxes could go a long way. And maybe there's some sort of thing where you can you add a lynx to your team before you're entering the Gauntlet Arena. And it's free to play still. Everyone can add whatever they want. And that's the lynx you're going to take into the arena when you play. And maybe a lot of people are taking similar ones. I don't know, but yeah.
Well, everyone, I don't know, man. Like, there's so many, I'm just coming up with an idea for it randomly at the start of the game gives you like a list of, not a list, but like a grid of 9 lynxes or whatever, like 12 lynxes. I don't know. You probably would go 16, 3x3 or 4x4. And players, like every player gets 3 votes, and they just click on 3, the 3 most voted. They're like something like that. I don't know, right? But just, there's a lot you can do with lynxes. Like I said, I think it's very, very underwhelming what's being done with lynxes, and I think that opens up a lot of what you said. Man, if I want 6 air, there's only 6 air units. I'm taking your word for it. But like if you add the lynxes, well, now there's actually 11 air units. Like that's kind of what you want, is it not? Like 11, you need 6. That's only 50%.
Well, you wouldn't run that many units, but at least it means that if someone takes your winks and they get a quinks and you can't get quinks, you're like, shit, my 6 air comp's stuffed. I got a full pivot now. I'm screwed.
But you
But
could get the air
instead, now you can
links.
get the links.
Correct. Exactly. And if you're trying to get the, I'm not trying to say get 11 air units,
Mm,
but if you're aiming for six air units and there's only six, you're aiming for 100% of what's available.
mm.
If you're going out of the lynxes, you're getting slightly. You need slightly more than 50%. That's far more favorable for you as a player and feels way more feasible than saying I need 100% of everything to get this. Like, it's like, yo, what if
Yeah.
you're missing one piece of the puzzle? What one piece of Exodia? You're done.
You just got to manage it so you can't force comps too easily. But I think if the
Mm,
lynxes are expensive or difficult to obtain in some way, so they take a little
mm.
bit of risk, then I think it works for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, let's jump back into it. So, Kieran said he's hopeful that there's going to be some sort of reveal of the MMO Lite or the new overworld this month, but it's going to be tight, so it will be right at the end of August if it does come out. And yeah, so after that, he also says for the IRPFL 250, 75% of the spots are filled from the sit and go. Anyone can qualify for it, and so on and so forth. And info-based, people were asking why the engagement on the IPL announcement wasn't very good. Kieran states that info-based posts tend to do poorly, and there was a lot of info in this. He expects the trailer, so there's a trailer actually coming for the IPL, which is coming to be much more entertaining and do better, plus viewer fatigue possibly set in a bit. We were everywhere for a 24 period and then announced another thing. The creators we're signing will be the big boost for league visibility. So they're betting a lot on this creative marketing push. Kieran also said they're looking into doing daily mini events. I don't know if this is pertaining to Leviathan or not. They'll likely attach to the Battle Pass. For now, we will run Leviathan tournaments, but we're going to need to weave them into the scheduling of the IPL, which currently has a tournament every weekend up to December. The stat boost he can say for certain how much they got to crank them up, but he thinks something like 20% is still a huge amount, but they need to test it, as we saw before. I forgot what I wanted for this one. But yeah, Leviathan Arena were not quite in the state where it made sense to hold large-scale tournaments before, and it has now changed. So the team is all in on the new tournament structure. There's also this leak that we got from Jeremy, which I think was actually pretty cool. Look, I still wish the environment was more filled out in terms of set dressing, let's say, but that's definitely not the priority. It's really cool to see all the different enemies roaming around. You can see them right here. For example, there's 3 in the spot. They've all got the same symbol above their head, even though this one's a different creature altogether. So I don't know what the symbols mean. They all have the attack speed icon as well. There's like 5 over there, 7. And there's actually 2 or 3 over here as well. And then we've got the new entryway we didn't have in the previous versions of the game and things like that. So it's getting there, but definitely looks more lively. I'm looking forward to seeing what this actually plays like, though. So fingers crossed. A few last things. The pack is growing. New faces are flooding Discord and activity buzzing. Fuel sales setting an all-time high with 350% 5% growth spike, and IRB summer disc sales are soaring over 4,000 sold. So really great to see that. Would have been interesting to not have the summer disc sale actually happen and see what Leviathan actually did on its own. You know what I mean? But here we are. IPL details, pretty standard stuff. All the stuff. Main event in December with $150,000 prize pool. Wondering why Illuvium is pumping. The team built, the community backed it, and now it's time to deliver. I really do actually believe in that. I think just consistent, getting there. A lot of the token dilution is done now too, and now the token's doing quite well. So it's been quite exciting. IC managed to cover us. Always love to see it when IC covers us. Talks about the 250K Pro League. I haven't actually watched the segment on it, but I'll chuck it down in the chat. Definitely, you guys should go definitely follow him and check out all of the daily news broadcasts that he does. And CoinDesk says bullish after peaking in 2022, crypto gaming is rising again. I did not expect this. Why do you think the crypto gaming term is rising?
No clue. I honestly think it's a nothing bagger. I don't think like it's just you're looking at that one thing. I look at this every pretty regularly. I'm looking at, so what would you say is a more popular term? Crypto gaming or just crypto in general?
Crypto, obviously.
And so crypto, the latest results from Google Trends are that it's 28% as of this week. The Bitcoin turn is 28% compared to its peak back in 2021. 28%. That's nothing. Crypto is down. Yeah, like and no one's looking at it. Like no one's looking at this stuff yet. You're looking at a very specific term, and okay, yes, it might have a little bit of a hit. I don't think it's anything like whoa. Look, I think it's just engagement farming. If you're looking at it from a macro perspective, I'm looking at you look at the Beckers, the Elliott trades, their viewership. That shit's still down 50% compared to when it was peak. Like there's a lot of metrics that when you look at it, I think this guy, I don't know who it is probably just celebrating a win or engagement farming. I think it's a nothing burger.
No, I mean, like, this is Google Trends is Google Trends, right?
Yeah.
But
I mean, like,
there's still
again,
got to be a
specific
reason.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I'm sure there is. I'm sure it is, but I don't think it's sustainable.
My best guess is Off the Grid going on Steam probably garnered some attention from news articles and things like that, which is, I don't want to say artificially inflating this. It's not like people are reading that and going, I want to play crypto gaming. It's just that it entered the news cycle for a brief moment. I think that's playing a role here.
So you think Off the Grid going on Steam is a bigger thing than when they got Tim the Tap Man, Ninja, and all that stuff playing?
No, I never said that.
No, so if that's the case, why don't we see that spike back then?
That's a good point. We didn't really see a spike. I'm surprised we didn't really see, but I guess
I think
it's a little bit different. I think off the grid back then, it wasn't really seen as a crypto game necessarily. People just saw there are a bunch of people playing this new game off the grid. But when it goes on Steam and it's the first crypto game to go on Steam, then that becomes the topic of discussion as the crypto game part of it.
Yeah.
But with the other one, it's just the off the grid part of it necessarily.
Yeah.
So
I definitely disagree. Just because I know for a fact when you do come out with it, these guys, like when we did it with Illuvium way back and with the liquid guys and everything, the first thing everyone in the audience was saying, they saw their streamer playing it, they looked it up. Yo, this is a crypto game. If you're telling me that Tim the Tap Man, all those guys played off the grid and their audience didn't type in off the grid, if I go on Google right now and type in off the grid, if it doesn't say anything about crypto, I don't think that's true. They would have learned that it was a crypto game.
So my other best guess is, I believe, ATS Legacy, the new MMO from Axie Infinity, is coming out at the end of this month, which could be playing a role.
That's if anything, that's what I would lean towards. If anything, definitely not the off the grid thing. And who knows? I might be wrong. It
could be a combination of a lot of these things, though. I think there's a lot of stuff just kind of culminating at the end of this month. It definitely doesn't explain that big of a spike, but there is a lot of stuff happening, and maybe excitement is building. But I mean, it's still Google Trends. But you're right. It might be conflated with some other stuff that's just kind of pushing it up artificially. It's hard to say, but I guess we'll see when ATS Legacy comes out. I think that'll tell us the truth or not, really.
Yeah.
Because that's my other best guess.
It would be pretty crazy. It would be pretty crazy if actually started the previous gaming cycle and it comes back and does it again. That'd be pretty historic.
All right. So is there anything else you want to talk about before we wrap this one up, man?
Nah, I think that's it.
All right. I appreciate you all for joining us. It was a good chat, good episode. I'm really eager to see new units or a bit of a revamp in the arena so that it's a bit easier to fill out those compositions and things like we talked about before. But with that, the download is complete. Have a good one.